continue to meet at 4 o'clock. The combined average attendance of the two services being a total of 76. We are glad to report that we've been able to assist the Greek congregation, who were formerly in the habit of worshiping in the Dutch chapel, to obtain the use of the Swedish chapel. The Armenians received permission to continue to use the Dutch chapel until they are in a possession of a building of their own. Collections are now held every Sunday after the services. 4 people have become associated with our congregation while residing in Constantinople and have been enrolled as members. 2 marriages and 3 baptisms have been celebrated in the last year. We again desire to express our thanks to our organist, Miss Main, for her valuable and efficient service to the chapel. And finally, with regards to the finances, we continue to be unable to cover our operating costs, and there are many debentures to be repaid. We have to draw lots to decide which ones to pay first, and we're still not able, nor have we ever been able to hire a full-time pastor and pay him a salary. Signed, the secretary.
That report didn't end on a high note.
No, our finances are not good right at the moment. But when you consider that the chapel began as a warehouse, oh, we've come a long, long way since then.
First a warehouse, then a prison. Because it was made out of stone, it survived 2 fires early on, 1767 and 1831.
Did you just make those dates up?
They're in the minutes.
Yeah.
Of course, what's easier to remember is what's happened in the last 60 years.
Yes, and there are many sad events that happened during that time, and some of those most awful ones were the folks who came from other countries, America, Germany, Scotland, and they became ill with some of the many diseases, the plague of cholera and others, and not only just one, but sometimes many members of the family died. It's a terrible time.
True. And of course, the Crimean War that broke out in 1853. I recall the makeshift hospital that came about in Üsküdar.
Yeah, and our own Cyrus Hamlin, he started that seminary in Quebec. And his students made thousands of loaves of bread every day for the hospital.
Thousands of loaves?
For Florence Nightingale.
Florence Nightingale at the hospital?
Every day.
Wow. He is amazing.
Thousands.
Thousands of them. Well, no, he didn't do just exactly that. Did you know that he created a washing machine made out of barrels so that they could wash the infected clothes of the soldiers without any hands having to touch those clothes?
Amazing.
He really was amazing.
And it's very true. Of course, the chapel went back to being a warehouse at that point in time. We got permission to use it again in 1857. And then, of course, 5 years later, was the cholera outbreak.
You know, I think Reverend Bliss wrote something about that in the minutes. Let me check here and see what he wrote about that. I'm sure it's here somewhere. Yes, here it is. Wow. August 26, 1865. You will hear of the ravages of cholera here, and will be anxious to have a report from our church circle. Mr. Washburn's little Harry was attacked and died on Saturday, day before yesterday. Others among us have had more or less severe attacks, but now, so far as I know, all are well. He goes on, we are very much scattered. There must have been 800 or 1,000 deaths a day last week. 26 dead bodies were carried past our bookstore on Tuesday. And he concludes with this. That was a day of horrors. Since that time, the ravages of the disease have been fearful. The number of victims is estimated at from 40,000 to 50,000. And then, believe it or not, just a year later, there was another extensive fire. Reverend Bliss writes this on here. He said, "It was one of the most excessive fires that had ever visited the capital in a half a century. This added greatly to the general distress. Rents in the city are greatly increased, and there is a general stagnation of business."
Huh. Plague, cholera, fire, death. Our financial problems seem pretty light, gentlemen.
True, but I'm really beginning to wonder if buying the Han was the right idea.
It was supposed to bring in revenue, but with all these extensive renovations.
Oh, yes, I know, but I don't think that an investment in which we paid
6,750 lira.
yes, and which now we have been offered by a hotel to buy it for 15,000 lira.
What? Wait, you're the manager of the Ottoman Bank, and that's why I don't understand what you're saying about half the time, but I missed something there.
Actually, I do understand him most of the time, but I missed this one. What are you talking about?
What's wrong with you, man? Do you not get your mail, or is it just that you don't read it?
No.
Well, I guess not. I sent you copies just a few days ago of a letter from a hotel that wants to buy the Han for 15,000 lira. And let me tell you, as a manager of the Ottoman Imperial Bank, I know that that's a good investment.
Sell it off.
15,000. That's incredible.
It's amazing.
That's
How much did we pay for it?
we could pay off all of our debts.
And hire a full-time
Yes,
manager.
we could. But I've been thinking about this, which you gentlemen couldn't do because you didn't read your mail. And I have decided, as the manager of the Imperial Ottoman Bank, that the best thing we can do is offer a firm counter-offer of 18,500 lira. And I so believe in it, I'm going to call for a vote. All those in favor say aye. All those in favor say aye.
Well, fortunately, the hotel declined the offer. So we still have the Union Han today.